Hello students, welcome back to English e-learning. In this video, we will be discussing the first chapter of the Canterville Ghost, a new home for the Otis family. The American minister, Mr. Hiram B. Otis, buys Canterville Chase, an estate outside the town of Ascot in Manchester, England. Despite people's warning that the home is haunted, Lord Canterville, a man of punctilious honor, even advises the minister not to purchase the home, explaining that while he lived there, the ghost caused his great aunt to have a fit. His wife could not get a little sleep, and the servants refused to stay. Although sympathetic to Lord Canterville's experience, Mr. Otis scoffs at the notion, insisting that he comes from a modern country. If there are ghosts in England, he says, one would have been taken to the United States by some American impresario and put on display by now. Later, the Lord Canterville raised his case, but wants Mr. Otis to remember he warned him. Now the Otis family moves to the Canterville Chase. The Otis family includes Mr. Otis, Mrs. Otis, a former New York socialite who is very much English in her ways. The eldest son, Washington, is named after George Washington, the first president of the United States. He is a sensible young man who hates his name. Virginia is a tall, blonde-haired, blue-eyed 15-year-old girl who was once proposed to by the Duke of Cheshire. The youngest Otises are wild twin boys the family calls the Stars and Stripes. It was the month of July, and the nature was at its utmost beauty. Everything looked pretty perfect until the Otis moved to the Canterville Chase. As their wagonette nears the home, the sky darkens and heavy raindrops began to fall. Standing on the front step is the housekeeper, Mrs. Amney, who is being kept at the request of Lady Canterville. She is dressed neatly in black silk dress with white apron and cap and leads the family to the library sitting room where she has set up tea. Mrs. Amney serves the tea when Mrs. Otis draws the housekeeper's attention to a red stain on the floor, and she says that she is afraid something has been spilled there. Mrs. Amney agrees, adding that the stain is actually blood. Mrs. Otis declares she does not care for bloodstains in a sitting room and asks it to be removed. Mrs. Amney goes on to explain the significance of the stain. The blood belongs to Lady Eleanor de Canterville, who was murdered on the spot by her husband, Sir Simon de Canterville, in 1575. She goes on to explain that Sir Simon vanished mysteriously 9 years later, while his body has never been found. His ghost haunts the chess. The stand, she admits, remains because it delights the tourists. Washington thinks the story is rubbish and leaps into action, cleaning up the spot with Pinkerton's champion stain remover and Paragon detergent. Suddenly, there is a bolt of lightning and a clap of thunder. Mrs. Amni falls to the floor. While she is unconscious, Mr. and Mrs. Otis discuss how best to deal with the issue of a fainting housekeeper. Mr. Otis suggests deducting from her wages the times she spent being overwhelmed. When Mrs. Amni finally comes to her sense, she warns the Otises that trouble is on the way. They assures her there is nothing to worry about. Mrs. Amni says a prayer for her new bosses, negotiates for a higher salary, and leaves the room. This is the end of the first chapter. Do continue to watch the upcoming videos where the remaining chapters will be explained. Thank you.